It's scary how, most people in this world are natalists, like 100%. They don't see anything wrong with bringing more people into this world. It's scary how most people believe in that shit, and they'll believe that until the day they die. Like, what do they say? Like, the majority of people can be wrong on things. Well, this is the biggest thing that they're wrong on, that having kids is a good thing. They think there's nothing wrong with bringing somebody into this world and letting them be a wage slave, or subjecting them to pain from another human being, or, from a disease. Well, they might end up killing themselves. People don't see anything wrong with this. That's why parents deserve no sympathy when their kids' lives do go wrong, or they do end up killing themselves, because it's the parents' fault, obviously, you know? Like, you could see it in movies. Like, I saw this movie yesterday called Unbreakable. Seen it before, I won't spoil it. But, one of the main characters, he's born with this condition called osteogenesis imperfecta. Basically, his bones are very brittle and they break easily. And his mother was crying and shit. And I'm like, bitch, you don't deserve no sympathy. You forced him out of your vagina, and he was like that. When he was born, his arms and legs were broken. Like, that's your fault, bitch. It didn't stop me from watching the movie, but I'm saying, this natalist like agenda is in every movie everywhere pretty much. There might be some movies with anti-natalist ideas or characters, but not most of them. And I bet people in the audience, when they saw that, they would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, miss, for your poor baby." People should be like, "No, that bitch is her fault. It's her fault for risking her baby's life. That bitch don't deserve no sympathy. The kid does, not the fucking mother. It's her fault." But this is why, like, it's cool when, like, anti-natalists debate natalists, because what can a natalist say to an anti-natalist that they can't rebuke, or, tell them that it's not true, obviously. Because, yeah, being an anti-natalist is a matter of opinion, but it's better than being a natalist, just because most people are natalists, like I said. And it's just scary how most people are going to be dumb natalists until the day they die. They see nothing wrong with bringing a kid into this world. It's because they've been brainwashed by society, and it's because their lives probably haven't been that traumatic. Probably. Some people's lives have been traumatic and painful, but a lot of people's lives have been just okay. They've gotten lucky. They haven't been through anything really bad, really, really bad. Their lives have just been okay, or even lucky, like they're born attractive or whatever. So they just look at their life, and they think that, oh, my kid's life is going to be the same. And it could be the same, or it could be a lot worse, but the point is they still take that risk, and they don't even think about it. They don't even think that it's a risk. Like, a lot of them, they just think that having kids is something you're supposed to do, or something that's gonna be good, but it's not good. You're not doing the person that came into existence any favors. It's just scary how most people in this world think like that, how they're so dumb and brainwashed and stupid. And, like that movie example, like, if a kid is born with a condition, they'll feel sorry for the parent. And you should be like, no, fuck the parent. The parent deserves a slap, you know? You should feel sorry for the kid. The kid never asked to be born in that way. Um, it's just scary how most people are going to be nameless until the day they die. It's very scary. Excuse me. It is scary. Um, but that's why, like I said, it's funny when natalists debate anti-natalists, because, yes, anti-natalism is an opinion and a belief. You don't have to be an anti-natalist if you don't want to, but I'd argue that, being an anti-natalist, you can't cause any harm to a potential offspring rather than a natalist. That's the problem. They think it's okay bringing somebody into this world where they don't control anything. People think they have more control over things than they actually do, until life really hits them hard. Life doesn't hit everybody hard. Some people get lucky, some people don't get lucky at all. That's just how unfair this world is. Some people never get hit by the harsh realities of life, or never get traumatic things happen to them, or suffering, and some people do all the time, or some of the time, or whatever. That's just how unfair life is, and some people have a lot better luck than others. But even though there's people who haven't been hit by the harsh realities of life, they have a kid. Their kid could be hit by the harsh realities of life, you know? They can't control that. They just got lucky by not being hit by any harsh realities or bad things in life. It's not like they chose that. They just got lucky. Either they're rich or whatever. They just got lucky by avoiding bad shit, bad circumstances, bad people, bad environments, being in the right place at the right time instead of the wrong place at the wrong time. They just got lucky. Exactly. So, I was just thinking, it's scary how most people think this is okay, this world is okay, there's nothing wrong. Well, people know that there's wrong things in the world, but it's like their mindset is like, how much worse can the world that we live in be? When really it should be, this world is fucked, and it's always been fucked, and everybody's gonna die, so why would you bring somebody else into this shit? You shouldn't do that. You should not do that, obviously. You should not do that. It's as simple as that. It's not hard to understand. Just don't reproduce somebody into this world and they'll never have to suffer in any way? And like I said, for people who haven't suffered that much in life, they just got lucky by the hair on their chinny chin chin. They just got lucky and avoided bad shit in life, whether it be bad people, bad environments, diseases, whatever. They just got lucky. Their kid might not be so lucky? Exactly. And they don't care about that. They don't see anything wrong with that. But most people don't either. Even people that have been through bad shit, they can still have kids too. And they can think that having kids is the best thing that ever happened to them. Like, just this delusional, selfish mindset. I don't understand how they can be so self-minded, single-minded. But that's just the way humans are. That's the way our parents are. That's why they had us, because they thought we were just gonna enjoy this life like they do, or at least think the way they do. But nah, man, we're our own person. I mean, I already know at 23 years old that having kids is a fucking terrible idea. I don't get how people older than me can think it's such a good idea, or just be that selfish to go through with it and do that to somebody and force them into this human body, into this world where they can just suffer and never get what they want. I don't get how people can go through with that shit. I'm not going through with that shit ever. I don't understand how people go through with that shit, because that's the worst thing you could ever do. It's worse than murder. It's worse than anything, man. Because the person's gonna die anyways, and they could be murdered anyways. Giving birth to someone subjects them to every type of pain and harm ever. Every single one. No birth, no pain and suffering, and they don't exist, so they don't need good things. They're not missing out on anything. I know people understand that, but they just don't care and they don't listen. They just continue to have kids every single day. It's just the human race is just dumb, man. That's why it's just funny when natalist debates anti-natalist. But yeah, it's just very, very disturbing how most people think there's nothing wrong with bringing somebody into this world. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, you should do that. You should have kids. They're gonna make you happy? It's just this selfish mentality, not taking into account the risks that, bringing a new kid into this world has with it, obviously. Health risks and all the suffering they could go through in their life. Like, people are financially ready, most people, when they have kids. Like, if the kid needs to go to hospital, they're ready for that. But they don't think about all the pain and suffering the kid could go through when it's like 18 and older. People just do not give a shit about that at all. Like, how can they be so, like, unself-aware of their own kid's future life? They just don't care. It might make sense in a way that, like, when animals are a certain age, they leave their parents and their parents don't give a shit about them anymore. They leave the nest or whatever. They have to fend for themselves. Maybe it's the same thing in humans. That's why humans don't really care about their kids past like a certain age. Or they just don't even think about that. They only think about when the kid's a baby. Whereas when the kid's a fully grown adult, they just don't even think about that at all. At least when they're planning to have kids and get pregnant, that thought doesn't even fucking enter their mind. That this baby's gonna grow up to be an adult and gonna have its own thoughts about this world and own feelings, and it might not like this life. It might not like being a wage slave. It might not like its circumstances. It might not like the people around it. It might not like the things that have happened to it. It might not like having to be in this human body, and there's no euthanasia in this world. It might be aware of that, but most parents aren't even aware of that, so they don't even think about that. And yeah, they don't even think about when their kid's gonna be older, and it's not gonna be a child anymore. It's not gonna be a carefree, happy child that doesn't know anything and is just happy all the time. It's gonna be an adult with its own feelings about the world. I 100% know that parents do not think about that at all. Do you know why? Because I've said this before, but I've spoken to this natalist on YouTube. I'm not gonna name names, but he's not a toxic person. But I disagree with him because he's a natalist, obviously. But once in a live stream, he said, "I wanted to tell you that I asked my kid, 'Are you happy that you're born?' And the kid said, 'Yes, I'm very happy to be born.' And then I was like, oh, great. That's great, Mr. Natalist. How old is your kid, by the way, that they're happy to be born?" And then the natalist said, "My kid is 9 years old." Like, of course your kid is going to be fucking happy when they're 9. Like, people just do not think about this shit at all. That kid might not be happy in another 9 years. He might be a fucking rage-filled incel. You don't know. He might have gotten bullied. He might... All sorts of bad shit could happen in the next 9 years, you know? You don't know. Of course he's going to be happy when he's a fucking 9-year-old. What 9-year-olds are not happy that don't have cancer or whatever, or haven't been bullied traumatizingly, It's just human beings just only think about themselves, man. And when they have kids, that's the biggest example, when they only think about their own well-being and their own happiness. If they thought about somebody else, their kid, then they wouldn't even have them. Then they wouldn't have to protect them selfishly, protection. You don't have to protect someone that doesn't exist. If they really thought about their kids' well-being, they wouldn't have them. They wouldn't force them into this world. They would take into account that when their kids older, they might not like this life. They might not get the things they want. They might want to just kill themselves. So they wouldn't even create them in the first place. So they'd have to go through all this bullshit. Parents do not care about their children one bit. They don't. Like they say, like, I got a happy, healthy family. Yeah, it's selfish, you motherfucker. Selfish. You didn't have to make that family. You did it selfishly. So yeah, I've said all I wanted to say. Peace out.